Hello again, friends. I'm Dustin Davis, ready to dive into what's new in Lions Land. Detroit's defensive foundation is shifting. The franchise has made its intentions clear by investing heavily in homegrown talent, yet questions linger about whether the current roster possesses enough firepower to compete at the highest level. Gaps remain along the defensive line, and the Lions organization faces mounting pressure to address those vulnerabilities before the window narrows. The front office has already rewarded its best defenders, but that doesn't eliminate the need for additional reinforcements. Internal debates about cost versus impact continue as the trade deadline looms. Some believe the answer lies in affordable depth pieces, while others argue only a marquee acquisition can elevate this unit to championship caliber. The path forward isn't settled. Detroit's decision-makers must weigh financial commitments against roster construction, balancing loyalty to drafted stars with the allure of veteran upgrades. What they choose next will define whether this defense can match the ambition of a team built to win now. Let's check out everything that's been happening with the Lions in the last few hours. But first, can I ask you a quick favor? If you're enjoying the content, just hit that like button. It helps us more than you think. Thank you so much. The first major move came this week when Detroit made its intentions unmistakably clear with a historic contract decision. Will Detroit keep one of football's most dangerous pass rushers in the fold for years to come? The organization's answer arrived Wednesday when Aidan Hutchinson agreed to a 4-year extension, a deal that anchors him as the centerpiece of Detroit's defensive front. When healthy, Hutchinson represents an elite edge threat, and this contract rewards his production while protecting the franchise after his recovery from a significant 2024 setback. Beyond the individual, the move illustrates a broader organizational philosophy. Identify elite talent through the draft, nurture their development, and lock them down long-term to sustain competitive relevance. Detroit committed 4 years and $180 million to the 25-year-old pass rusher, with agent Mike McCartney confirming to ESPN's Adam Schefter that $141 million is fully guaranteed. The $45 million annual average trails only Micah Parsons among non-quarterbacks, and the guaranteed total sets a new benchmark for defensive players outside the quarterback position, according to roster management system data. Hutchinson proved his durability and effectiveness in 2025 after a 2024 season cut short in Week 6 by fractured tibia and fibula bones. This year, he's already accumulated 6 sacks, and his 29 pressures rank second league-wide behind Parsons' 33. His 4 forced fumbles tie him with Joey Bosa for the NFL lead. Hutchinson's presence on the field has been nearly constant. He's participated in approximately 93% of Detroit's defensive snaps this season, the highest rate among the team's defensive linemen. He shares second place in both sacks created and interceptions created, metrics that underscore his ability to generate game-altering plays when rushing the passer and deliver concrete results to his defensive line. Selected second overall from Michigan in 2022, Hutchinson remained under team control through 2026 via his 5th-year option. His 2023 Pro Bowl selection followed a career-high 11.5 sack performance. Hutchinson joins a growing list of homegrown stars who've signed extensions under GM Brad Holmes. Over the past 2 seasons, the franchise has secured long-term deals with Jared Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams, Penei Sewell, Ali McNeil, and Kirby Joseph, evidence of Holmes' systematic approach to drafting elite prospects, developing them through Detroit's system, and retaining them to maintain a championship-caliber window. Head coach Dan Campbell emphasized Hutchinson's irreplaceable contributions earlier this month, highlighting the unique impact he delivers against both the run and pass while drawing significant offensive attention. He pulls a lot of slack, Campbell stated on October 8th. He requires resources offensively, which helps everybody else. Across the league, whispers of another potential blockbuster have begun circulating among front office insiders and analysts. Would the franchise sacrifice premium draft capital to land a dominant interior defender, like Quinnen Williams? Locking Hutchinson into a long-term deal doesn't eliminate Detroit's pursuit of defensive reinforcements. With postseason aspirations within reach, the organization continues to be mentioned, at least in speculative circles, as a potential suitor for established veterans who could reshape their interior defensive line. Bleacher Report's Christopher Knox proposed Quinnen Williams as a trade candidate, explaining why such a high-stakes transaction could benefit both franchises as they evaluate roster construction and future draft assets. Knox highlighted Williams' 3 Pro Bowl selections and 40 career sacks, emphasizing that he's still under contract through 2027 and won't reach age 28 until December. That pedigree positions him as a premier asset, the type of defender the Jets could flip for substantial draft compensation, potentially starting with a first-round selection as they contemplate pursuing a franchise quarterback in 2026. Williams earned first-team All-Pro recognition in 2022 and maintains a reputation as one of the league's most disruptive interior forces. Through 2025, Williams has registered 32 combined tackles alongside 7 tackles for loss, 3 quarterback hits, and 1 sack. While his pass rush numbers haven't reached dominant levels this fall, his 2020 to 2024 track record demonstrates consistent pressure creation with at least 5.5 sacks recorded in each of those campaigns. Pro Football Focus ranks Williams among the league's stronger run defenders this season, and his capacity to line up primarily at defensive tackle while occasionally shifting outside would inject valuable flexibility and reinforcement to Detroit's injury-impacted defensive line. Despite the potential upside, acquiring Williams presents significant complications. Detroit has already re-signed Hutchinson, and Ali McNeill delivered impressive performances following his 2025 return. Adding Williams could marginalize veteran DJ Reader's contributions, and the contractual realities are daunting. Williams is halfway through a 4-year, $96 million agreement that projects a $26.65 million cap hit in 2026 and $30.4 million in 2027. The franchise could engineer trade terms to minimize immediate salary cap pressure, but surrendering first-round draft capital alongside substantial long-term cap space to acquire an expensive multi-year veteran introduces considerable risk, especially as Detroit continues extending its homegrown core. Bringing in Williams would represent an unambiguous all-in maneuver capable of elevating Detroit's defensive front to elite status. Still, the combination of draft asset expenditure and salary cap commitment likely renders such a trade unlikely, even though it's precisely the type of aggressive roster gamble that could propel the franchise to the next level.
On a different front, the organization may be eyeing a more conservative approach that preserves assets while addressing depth concerns. Can the franchise add rotational pass rush help without surrendering valuable draft picks? Following last year's deadline acquisition of veteran Zadarius Smith, which helped compensate for Aidan Hutchinson's season-ending injury, the organization may revisit the position, this time through a lower-cost transaction involving New England. A2Z Sports reporter Mike Payton identified Patriots edge defender Anfernee Jennings as a sensible, cost-effective target for Detroit, referencing earlier trade proposals that connected Jennings to the franchise. ESPN analyst Bill Barnwell outlined a scenario last August in which New England would send Jennings and a 2026 7th-round pick to Detroit in exchange for a 2026 6th-round selection. Barnwell's analysis also noted Jennings' manageable 2025 salary, approximately $2.5 million, with roughly half guaranteed, a financial structure that makes him accessible for a team seeking short-term edge depth. Payton observed that New England has given little indication it plans to feature Jennings prominently this season. Despite starting 16 games in 2024, Jennings hasn't appeared in the starting lineup during any of his 5 2025 appearances and has recorded just 1.0 sacks. Payton highlighted the contrast between Jennings' extensive 2024 workload, 181 snaps, and his minimal 2025 involvement, 79 snaps, suggesting that New England's defensive scheme adjustments have reduced his role. Payton characterized Jennings as a low-cost investment, noting the player would represent minimal financial risk, roughly $5 million in total obligations, covering the remainder of this season and 2026, while delivering immediate depth and rotational versatility. While Jennings would serve as a practical depth addition, some analysts believe Detroit could pursue a more significant upgrade when elite edge rushers enter trade availability. ESPN's deadline coverage cited evaluators who view Miami's Jaelan Phillips as one of the more prominent edge options potentially on the move, suggesting Detroit might covet a genuine number 2 edge rusher to complement emerging contributors like Al-Quadin Muhammad. Phillips is recognized for posting an above-average pass rush win rate when aligned at the edge and for providing solid run defense capabilities, attributes that would help Detroit both pressure opposing quarterbacks and control the line of scrimmage. Securing a player of Phillips' caliber would constitute a bolder, more expensive approach than targeting a situational veteran, but it's the kind of move that could meaningfully upgrade the defensive front on both downs. Beyond edge rush, Detroit may still seek to reinforce its injury-depleted secondary. the franchise has absorbed multiple absences among defensive backs, and while some starters are recovering, head coach Dan Campbell prioritizes reliable depth. Another reason a low-cost, high-upside defensive addition could appeal to the front office as the deadline draws near. Which route should Detroit take before the trade deadline? Go after a budget option like Anfernee Jennings, or make a bold play for someone like Jaelan Phillips? Do you think adding depth is enough, or does this defense need a legitimate number 2 edge rusher to complement Hutchinson? Leave your opinion in the comments. Support the channel by leaving a like and subscribing. Stay one step ahead with all the latest on Lions. See you in the next one.